Hey everybody, this is Watch Me Open, and you are listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. Hi, Mom.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ian Taylor, and you are listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast, your weekly digest of hobby goodness. A terribly terrific trio of guests this week. Ladies first, and I'm thrilled to welcome back Amanda Z, aka The Graded Gamer. Also making a return after a very well-received recent issue is Keith Boyle of I Want More Comics and Games in Thornton, Colorado. This is why I should read these before I actually start. And finally, because we all like to watch him open boxes of cards, it's Billy Vasozi. Did I pronounce that right?
Best you've done so far.
Best
You're
I've done so
close.
far. Best I've done so far. Well, welcome, one and all. How's it going, kids? You all right?
Lovely. Thank you for having us.
Consider yourself had. This week I'm gonna have a sip. It's evening here in the UK, so I'm gonna have a sip. So cheers, everybody. This is Jim Beam honey, by the way.
Oh, that sounds good.
New sponsor of the show.
It's really good. You know what? Jim Beam honey, if you want to send me 3 bottles of your beautiful, beautiful product for me to be drinking on every single podcast going forward, then I would be more than happy to oblige. The quality of the podcast would be slightly more variable than it already is, and that's saying something. So, but hey, you know, we'd all have a good time. So, coming back, we haven't done one of these. Well, I haven't done one of these in the new era of things. Hobby questions. These are all really fun things to do. Billy's done one before with us. You came on once. Yeah, you came on once and did them. And you were quite funny on that one because you were kind of like, Billy, you can say stumming as well. And you were like, oh, I'm quite happy to sit and watch you two talk. Well, now you can't watch you two talk. It's us four. So let me get into it. So basically what happened is I put a post up on the group, on the Instagram feed. I didn't do the Twitter because Twitter, and people sent in questions as they do. And sometimes they're really good. Sometimes they are incredibly good. And you're like, why didn't I think of that? And sometimes Tony Perner answers. So we've got that to look forward to. So I'm going to start with Ree Owens. Now, Ree Owens sent about 6 questions, so I'm probably going to flip between these, but here we go. Oh, God, which one do I do? What is the biggest challenge in the hobby of collecting these cards? That's a deep question to go for, first of all. And you're all looking slightly scared because it's like, who's going to go first? Who wants to tackle that first?
I think the one who goes the deepest should go first. So
I feel already attacked. Okay, cool.
I think this is a timely question for you too, Keith.
That's an interesting point.
Yes.
No, actually, I think Billy hits the nail on the head by trying to deflect it to me. The challenge is figuring out what you call collecting. That's really the point there. If I've recently run into a lot of frustration in collecting, in trying to chase things, in trying to be awake at the correct hour with 1 hour's notice to get in on a set of cards that I've been turning around and purchasing forever and a day on ePack. But if you don't individually turn around and set your limits, if you don't turn around and set your focus, if you don't turn around and really try to develop what is your goal in collecting, you end up in a lot of problematic areas. You know, I just came into the office today with a stack of a mail call here, and there was 2 cards that I had purchased that I've been trying to chase on this set that are now my second and third copies, and I don't want that. And you know, it's again, I'm not paying attention well enough myself because I'm kind of scattered in the moment. And you can giggle at it, but ultimately the joy is hitting the the part you want, right? Like that's the thing. And I sit here and think of this panel, and none of us are anywhere close to the same type of collector. Like we're all across the board there. So I think that the challenge is figuring out what the word collecting means to you.
What does the word collecting mean to you, Billy?
Oh man. So, I've previously stated when I first came back into the arena, 3 years ago now, I was a kid in a candy store, and I ate till I had a bellyache, and I was left with, my card operation had now taken up both of my guest rooms in my house.
Wow.
There was no organization, there was no plan. I was a dog chasing cars. I was putting sets together that I had no attachment to just because they were there. And so, I think to actually answer the question, and to follow up with what Keith says, it's not just going to come to you, what collecting means to you. There's trial and error, and there's, there, even with sketch cards, and you experience it too, Ian. There's cards where, like, yep, I'll take it. And then, a couple months go by and you're like, I'm not in love with it. Like I'm not, and not that you don't like it, you don't appreciate the art, you don't think it's a good depiction of the character, but you don't have that feeling where, like, I don't care what you offer me, I'm not selling it. And I feel like everybody's going to have ancillary pieces in their collection that don't meet that criteria, but those are the ones that really are the ones that define you. And I've said, like, after I purchased that High Evolutionary 101 from 2020 Masterpieces, I don't care what you offer me. Like, that's just, it's important to me. It's my collecting identity. And unless, tragedy befell me, I wouldn't even think about moving it. So I think the trial and the error and being open to that changing of your mind and your feeling about something, whether it's a style, a set, an approach, or a particular card, you have to be open to liking something one day and then not liking it the next, and letting yourself evolve a little as you go. And like I said, that piggybacks on what Keith said, and then you'll get to a place where you become more and more comfortable about your direction, your collection, and you'll cultivate this much better impulse control when you see things pop up.
Really? I haven't experienced that part yet.
Like I said, much better. You have to contrast. Look at the contrast.
Absolutely. You finished talking, haven't you? And I'm reading the other questions. Sorry. So Ree follows up with a good question to piggyback off the back of that. What's the greatest joy you take or get from where you've kind of found your niche in collecting? I'm gonna ask Amanda at this point because she hasn't said anything yet.
You know what? I don't know if I have found my niche in collecting. Honestly, I think I fall in between Keith and Billy, probably collecting wise. Like Keith, I see Keith as like super master set collector, and Billy's like he's like laser focused on High Evolutionary. So like I have Bullseye, but I also chase sets like Keith does. And yeah, like I'm all over the place. I don't know. Joy is just finally finishing something, which is rare.
Yeah, no, it is. What I find interesting about you, Amanda, is that you kind of exist. If you've got a Venn diagram of different types of cards in the hobby, as the hashtag goes, you kind of straddle all of them. You're not just Marvel, because for what you do with the Graded Gamer and all the cards that you grade and trade. Grade and trade. That should be a hashtag. Let's use that. You can have
Okay,
that
that's a good one.
Yeah, grade and trade. You mentioned the other day you've started a new Instagram feed for your hockey stuff. I've seen you do TCG stuff, all sorts of stuff I've never heard of.
I'm starting to think my niche might be just 90s card sets. Like right now back here, I'm getting ready to break for myself. I say break, like I'm gonna open and grade. I have the first two sets of Bernie Wrightson, and then I have the Jim Steranko art set
Nice.
from
Mm,
the 90s.
mm,
So I
Great
really, I
team on that
mean,
Steranko.
you know what? I met him one time and that's it. I'm in love forever. I
really.
have a terrible feeling maybe at some point he's going to become problematic. I don't know, but I love him. Love, love.
Why does he
Until
keep?
I can't anymore.
Why does he keep? Does he keep hassling you and texting you and things like
No,
that?
no, 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 no. No, but he's very charming. But
Oh,
I'm
okay.
excited to get into those sets.
Mm,
I really like that 90s. There's a card set for everything period
mm,
of time. And that's kind of what I'm enjoying right now.
yeah,
So, I mean, it's still Marvel. I'm still in there.
yeah. I have to say, what one thing you really did get me into, which is behind me somewhere, is that DC Sandman set,
Oh, that's beautiful. It's a
which
beautiful
is
set.
which kind of ties into your catchphrase, which you'll have to say because I can't remember it and I won't do it justice. What do you say on the end of your on your Instagram? Uh,
Oh,
was it
oh
cards?
my God. Follow me for
Cards.
cards you didn't know you needed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that Sandman set is a perfect example. You know, I was like, oh, I like the look of those. And they've got those endless ones with the gold bordering,
Beautiful.
which
The
are
gallery
beautiful.
inserts are really pretty.
And I think I've got four of those so far.
There's a silver promo set to chase for those
Yes,
too.
yes, no, I've heard about those. But in the UK, there's quite a few sellers who have binders with like at least the base set and some of the
Mhm.
chase and some of the so I managed to pick up one of those, but the other stuff I just to play a long game with it. And that's the thing, I'm not in a rush for it. It's kind of a side quest
Yeah.
kind of thing. Um,
I think that's why those are so fun for the
mm,
90s, the older 90s things. For most of it, outside of what anything that's currently being pumped for Marvel, a lot of it's just you can pick it up when you feel like it. Like
yeah,
there's no rush on it. It's just there.
yeah, exactly. Which is why I've got so many of my 90s sets that are kind of almost finished, but not quite, because I'm like,
Hmm.
what's the rush?
Yeah.
You know, so um what's do you have a grail or a dream card that you're chasing? With a follow-up here of is it obtainable? Because you might know where it is and you might think it's unobtainium because someone else
Who's
has
gonna
got it.
tell you in a
Hmm,
public forum what their
I
grail
know,
card is that they don't have?
exactly. I mean it might be something, that's the thing, it might be something
Not
that's
this
that's
gal.
fairly straightforward. Yeah, exactly. So you're pleading the fifth on that one, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah, good, good. Did I use an Americanism there? Did I get it right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Do I get any points for that?
You get to take a sip.
Thank you. Lovely stuff. Keith, are you pleading the fifth on that one as well?
I have so many across the board because, when I look at my collection, I kind of fixate on the holes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the greatest way to do it. I definitely, I kind of am trying to force myself into enjoying, what I already have again. And, that's where I'm cataloging, I'm documenting, I'm taking the pictures of everything that's out there to kind of see this one more time through, as opposed to, just looking at those last three 2016 Marvel Masterpiece achievement cards I don't own. And man, I should have bought that one auction that was 30K, that had two of them in it, kind of thing. It's you can get trapped in that idea of chasing it. I think I'll take the positive out of it, which is that because I don't have just that one of one I want to have, that one card, even if it's let's just say even if what you're chasing is a 1 in 50, but there's a 1 in 50 out there I'm looking for right now that's in it's the Exquisite from Marvel Gems of Cyclops. Because I got the recreation by Olivetti of that art. I really like it, and I'd like to have a card that matches it. But it's serial number to 50. It's a set that is successfully hoarded. Like there's just not a lot of it out there. If it pops up, I was offered one and it was graded, and I don't think that the person that offered to me was offering to me at a terrible price, but it was just more than I wanted to spend. I didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take the joy in finding the $50 to $500 cards I can find and I find affordable and
Mm.
grab them as I go, because there's just too many out there for me to focus. If I had a set I wanted to finish, it's this one's already popped and everybody's got their eyes on it anyway. That's the Marvel Beginnings holograms and autographs.
Oh,
Mm.
Everybody's
yeah.
paying attention to that, but there's inside that, I can never remember the count, is 38 or 43 Stan Lee autographs on cards that there's no numbers out there to know how limited that they are, but we all know that they're very limited. They just don't pop up.
Mm.
Prices on them are big, and I don't think I'll ever finish that, but it is a lot of fun when you find one piece to add into that pile.
Definitely. What about you, Billy?
So I think the most, valuable to me, or to fit the Grail title, would be, there's a lot of sketches from the Rittenhouse days of High Evolutionary that, I've never even seen, that I know are in collections, because, we all know that there's collectors from like the Scoundrel days and that sketch card forum website, that like, that stuff's just not for sale. It's not for sale. It's not for trade. There's one guy in the Facebook group, who has lots of great sketches for a long time. And he actually posted some of the High Evolutionary ones. And I asked him, I was like, do you think these would ever become available? And he's like, no, sorry, and that's fine. I don't think, I respect, people, keeping things in their collection like that. But I just can't even imagine, for all the Rittenhouse sketches, because 90% of the sketches of High Evolutionary that were pack pulled were in the Rittenhouse days. And I have plenty of them, but there's some that are just by bigger artists. I know there's a Martinek that I've seen on Google Images. And have no idea who owns it. It's never become available on eBay. So it's just, I know there's some really nice pieces of art that I would like to have out there that, unfortunately, they're in that not for sale, not for trade category. So the best I can hope for is, what little sealed product left there is that becomes opened. If I happen to open any of it, people now, at least I have a pretty good identity in the community as that guy, and
Yeah.
they'd be happy to, most people would be happy to at least sell it, and gouge me or trade for something. But yeah, it's just, my imagination runs wild when I think about all the pieces that might be out there.
I think one of the interesting things about that is that when you find, there's two aspects to that, is knowing that a piece exists, ergo Google Images, and then knowing where it's living. Because one of the most frustrating things is, okay, I know that there are plates out there of Black Cat that I'd like to have, but I don't know where they are. That's the thing. And with a lot of it, it could well be sat in sealed product.
Yeah.
That logic is a lot of what makes me draw the lines in my collection, is that I thought that if you have a card that's numbered to 50, the possibility of it popping up, one of them popping up and you being able to get into it, was going to be there. It was definitely going to be findable. But if I was a character collector on something and I was looking at sets, even 1 in 10s, because a lot of my memories come from the Rittenhouse days, where the communication just wasn't there for things and stuff. Plenty of things I know how people did it, because I did some of it myself. I would open up something really cool, a 1 of 10 or something like that, and just put it in the back of the binder and not think about it, because I just didn't have the big push to go sell it or move it. So it could just be hanging out, and that. So it always has that limit of, can I even find what I'm chasing? That's a big motivator as to what I stress for, what I consider needing to go find tomorrow.
What about you, Ian?
I'd like just one Stan Lee auto card. And I've kind of narrowed it down to a few that I'd kind of like. The Silver Age one probably being the most.
Oh, okay.
I don't feel the need to own more than one. And plus the fact that I'd like to eventually own the other autos from that set. So that'd be good. Weirdly, cat-wise, I'm not actually that fussed about any of the ones of ones, for example, from Masterpieces and such, because it's like I'm never going to be able to afford it, even if I do know where it is, and even if it becomes
Yeah.
available, especially not,
Yeah.
since the last couple of years. So I'm kind of okay with that, the line being drawn there, and also because I've got some other unique pieces. So I've got the prelim from 2020 Masterpieces, and I've got a Just Go prelim from 2016. So I kind of feel like I've got some unique pieces that just kind of tick that box for me.
Yeah.
I guess
Makes sense.
I guess my big thing is plates, printing plates.
I love plates.
I
Oh
love
my
them.
God.
I just love them.
I have such a problem with plates.
You guys don't really want to run in here and hype up all the plates, do you? I mean, like that seems like
Hey,
I know.
we're not live. We're not live. We're not live. This could be
okay.
we could
cutting room floor.
yeah,
Fair,
cutting room
fair.
floor. I might find some very funny noises to put over the words that we just used.
Yeah, the P word,
The
like dogs barking anytime anybody says the plate word.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You've just made my job harder, Billy. Thank you for that.
I'm chasing
Okay.
two. I'm chasing
Plate.
two high evolutionary plates very seriously.
Are you?
Mhm.
Interesting. Okay. Play nicely now, children. We're gonna move.
Say plate nicely.
That too.
It's gonna sound like the kennel in here.
It's the cat's already out of the bag on that one, I think. Jake McManus, why doesn't everyone donate their X23s to me? So there's a public plea.
I don't have any.
It's a public
Otherwise I
plea now.
would.
Dial 1-800 Jake needs your X23s. Okay.
I'm not aware that he's officially won the public showdown between him and Keith Speroni.
There is someone else. Yeah.
For the X23. So
X23.
I don't think a winner's been declared. So I think it's tough
to be honest with you,
to know where you're sending it.
No.
Is it like a Thunderdome scenario? Like how does that?
Possibly two men enter, one man leaves. Listen, Jake is completely cool on the gang about not being that guy. So I don't think in jest. But no, it goes on. I thought this was interesting because Keith, I know the answer to this in terms of your question. It's kind of a two-part one. Do you collect base cards? And when did you last look at your base cards? So, Keith, you've got vast swathes of like sets and base cards and parallels. I mean, obviously you've got a busy job, so you're not going to be touching in with them every day. But maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you go down there and have a quiet in the morning, like Muslim thing, 15 minutes pray to Mecca kind of moment with your cards.
I try to touch base cards every day, but I have an asterisk next to that, which is that for my shop, I'm trying to get more and more of them available. It's always a big goal to see more people have the enjoyment. I had a customer give me some wild lists of chases that I found out that his story is that he worked at a gas station for an extended amount of years in the 90s and was buying whatever random packs were showing up there. So he comes to me with a list of he needs these DC Firepower singles.
Oh, wow.
He needs Spider-Man International 97.
And the Flair one. Yeah, right.
Yeah. He's like, he gives me a small little list. I was like, you realize this is like 60% of the set. You should just go buy the base set I've got in the case over there for $25. He's like, really? Yeah. It's like, so I love when people get excited about the base cards. Obviously, this is probably the biggest disconnect you can have in the hobby right now is when we're having a conversation. Are you and me talking as collectors? Are you and me talking as investors? Are you and me talking as, I'm somebody who's got a lot of cards to sell. Eventually I'll have prepared them and they'll be available. But I have a different conversation if you and I are talking about the appreciation of the sets, and I have a different conversation if you'd like to talk about the value of XYZ card I have that you'd like to get a hold of. And I think that all the conversations are appropriate. I don't think there's a problem with any of it, but we too often get, mixed up and maybe not knowing where we are. It's real easy with your friends, like I would consider myself on good terms with everybody here. And when we're going to have conversation, we're not really talking about, the long-term stock market of the Marvel card industry and where, we think this card is going to spike and this card's going to crash and things like this. No, we're talking about the fun of it. It's funny. I'll spend more time talking to Amanda about obscure things that no one ever in their right mind should ever be buying. And yet the two of us are deeply involved in it.
I love it.
Like Marvel Annual is we've said this before. You've said it before, Ian. It's such an underappreciated set because it has that nostalgia of the 90s. All things are included, like the 90s set this is everybody who's in Marvel right now. And, we look back upon it and wonder why certain characters were ever inside those sets, but you would know if you were into Marvel in the moment. And that's what Annual gives us right now. There's plenty of characters in there that are so left field. Like if you're not reading comics, you're just like, who is this? I don't understand anything. That's fine. That's not a big deal. But the base gives you that flavor. We know that insert sets, we know that you're always going to see Spider-Mans and Wolverines and Venoms and all those characters that everybody clamors for inside the inserts. But base is where you get the meat and potatoes, the things that keep the story going. That's what I love.
Yearbook. It's like a yearbook for Marvel that you're.
Well, the base is the base, if you pardon the expression. You don't get the chase and the inserts unless you have the base to build on. Does that sound like a really wanky thing to say?
No,
I've been drinking, but
it's so take something like Masterpiece, and it's very easy while you're opening up a box and building your set because of the expense that you've put into the set. And I'm talking about like the last 3 sets and what will be the next set when it comes out. You're focused. Hey, is that a tier 4 card? Oh, is that the special edition? Is that the what if? Or and these things really kind of quickly make you forget to look at card number 10 in the set and appreciate it. And it's only when you get to go back and look at the whole thing that you really get to enjoy that side of things. Everyone probably has an opinion as to if they prefer the art of Jusco or Bianchi or Palumbo. But ultimately, if you're getting to look at all of it and just enjoy all the different pieces of it, you're just getting that bonus, the joy instead of the credit card bill, right? Don't focus on the credit card bill. Focus on what you're getting out of this and enjoying. And I think the base is you've got to spend time in the base to get that. Otherwise, you're throwing your hobby money away. You're just purely trying to play the investment game. And more often than not, especially with the way things have changed over the years on that, you can end up frustrated when you're focused on dollars and cents.
What do you I see this phrase. I never heard this phrase before until I saw it on EPAC, on the EPAC forum. Cardboard junk. And it's just, I get where it comes from, because a lot of those guys on EPAC who can buy case after case after case and open it up, and they're doing the achievement or the chase or whatever. They're
one of them's here, right?
Yeah, I know, but that's that. But no, but that's the potentially former one of those.
No, we're not feeding into that. We're ignoring that. That's not...
I'm in rehab right now.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, if you don't want to talk about it, we won't talk
about it.
No.
Rehab is for quitters, Keith.
I know. It sounds great.
But no, how you obviously you're aware of that phrase. What does that phrase mean to you? Where do you see that? This wasn't in the questions, but it's connected. When I read that question, I was like, is that's kind of one end of the spectrum, regarding base cards as cardboard junk.
Well, it's like calling it junk wax, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like there's people who would consider this junk wax back here, like, but I love it.
Is it tied very specifically to the idea that any of those cards that are physical, because obviously some of the base is just combinable, but any of the cards that are physical still take 25 cents to get them into your hands? Does that play into
potentially?
the math?
Yeah,
and
potentially.
A lot of those cards, like I might have a couple of Marvel Ages cards sitting on EPAC right now, maybe 250 sets of totally toys, but the the point being is, like, there's not a lot of value. If you want to go over and jump over to Comp and see the numbers there, you're getting 27 cents a card.
Yes.
But yet 27 cents is really 2 cents.
Yes,
Because 25 of it, Upper Deck gets the VIG. Like they're gonna get their number. So it's when the numbers have been devalued so heavily like that, I can see where the terminology comes from. It's very easy. I also know that there's a lot of people that collect on EPAC, leave it on EPAC, and absolutely consider that their collection. And I have no knock against it. I don't want that to sound like it's a negative, because again, a 100 card set cost you $25 to bring home, but yet it's sitting in storage, in a place that we all find secure and don't have a problem with it. And you're never going to you don't have to worry about that. And you can save $25, but on the set. I don't think you don't get the joy of flipping it, right? Like we all love putting it in pages, right, Amanda?
Don't out me on that. It's too fresh.
Trigger words there and all this, but no, but I get the mentality. I think the mentality is fed by the people who are looking for value, and that's not necessarily the same as collecting. Again, different conversations. It's just not. Have more fun, spend more time talking about the collecting and what you love and why Black Cat's your character, or High Evolutionary. It would be so fun in Billy's Chase. It would be so much fun for me to find a comic cut. Me and Billy have talked about this many times, that there are only a few issues that he was even in that even have a possibility of a High Evolutionary showing up.
Yeah.
But to find one that he's actually on a cut, like that would be an amazing card to find. And that's another feedback to Joy. Finding somebody else's card that they love, that happened. I mean, Billy sent me a very expensive card to finish off a set of mine that really brought me a lot of joy, because again, it was that feeling between people that, like you can kind of care about what the other people are chasing, with your friends.
Yeah.
Also, I had seen him be his own worst enemy before, and go back and forth on whether or not to buy something at a given price, only to buy it 4 months later at double the price.
I had lost. It was and we can tell everybody, because I think we posted up in the group, right?
But I mean, I'm talking about the Wolverine Tier 4 from 2020. That was the one where I was like, I can't see that happen to this guy again.
I did spend a little bit more than what I could have a little bit earlier. I was, trying to play, you're playing what's the fastest lane on the freeway, right? Trying to chase and all this. Yeah. I've definitely, it's funny, for as much as we've alluded to here and all this, and where I want to take a massive step back from collecting right now. One of the things I'm actually thinking that might be the most amount of fun for me right now is not to necessarily stop getting new cards and stop the new sets, but is to buy them in an alternate way. Instead of spending thousands upon tens of thousands on a new break on, when it drops on EPAC, why not pick up the odds and ends as people are casting off the cards, the garbage cards they don't want. I'll buy them now, that kind of thing to chase and see if I have fun putting a set together in that direction.
And I've done that. As well. Interestingly, there's someone in the hobby across multiple groups. I won't name him because I don't know if he'd appreciate it, but he uses the term a hashtag collect singles now. So he's very much stopped buying from primary, and is buying them off eBay, of people selling them in groups, and doing it that way. And he's getting an awful lot of enjoyment from that. And he's finding it much more fulfilling, and I think he's spending a lot less as well.
I thought that at some point in time, when we're talking about the state of the hobby right now and, things like this, I thought that this idea would get close. We'd get close to it, or we'd have a question just straight on the nose about it. But there's going to be a massive evolution this year in how people, collect. And some of it is, again, you can't chase the high dollar boxes anymore. You're reshaping your collection. But we went through 2 years there where supply was so minimal. There wasn't enough out there to feed the masses that wanted it. And yet this year we've already seen more sets launched than were for almost the past 3 years.
Yeah.
It just in purely numbers. And we've already got coming up, Eternals is this month. Avengers versus X-Men is right on the heels of that. Loki is on the heels of that. Allure is on the heels of that. What If?
Yeah, Loki's going to be good.
Beginnings, Anime 2, and Premiere all have tentative dates right now.
And Allure.
And these, we're not even talking about other sets that we know about right now. But when so much hits the market at the same time, and Upper Deck also knows that more people were wanting to buy, so there's more product out there. The blasters are a great opportunity to get cards in your hand. And that's changing the dynamic of what people are buying.
Yeah.
So this evolution is going to be really interesting to watch, and you're really going to have to, be on top of it and be in communication with everybody and kind of see what's going on to watch this.
Well, this kind of ties in quite nicely with the Tony Perner question. Tony sent a number of questions.
Strange.
Yeah, listen. Sometimes Tony's like the whole thing with give a million monkeys a million typewriters, and eventually they'll come up with the great works of Shakespeare. So Tony fired 5 things over at us. 3 of them were: can Ian Taylor do a cartwheel?
All right.
The answer is no. Are you happy with your current cable provider?
Is anyone?
And chili. No question. That was just a statement from Tony. So Tony's 2 questions outside of that. Bless him. Tony, we love you dearly. Don't ever change. Can the average collector still afford to collect with the crazy prices of sets? So it kind of feels like it's a springing off that, because I mean, define the average collector, I guess. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much product out there, regardless of the price of sets. Because I'd argue that the price of sets, given the craziness of Spider-Man Metal and how much that got expenses, I'd have to say there has been a marked correction. Now, admittedly, some of the products that are coming out are probably lower tier anyway, like Annual, the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah, they're never going to be up there with the Spider-Man Metals of this world in terms of the prices that people are asking for them. But God loves a try, and I'm sure some people are trying to get a higher dollar for those than they should do. But I think, generally speaking, I think the price has come down. I mean, look at Fleer Ultra Avengers. I mean, it was much, much more affordable to collect for most people. I think the challenge is not the crazy prices of sets from my point of view, it's the size of them. I mean, Masterpieces is a has a lot of elements to it, but once you get your head around the structure, it's fairly contained. And then you look at something like Fleer Ultra Avengers with the crazy colouring and how many different colours there are and the different aspects to it. And yeah, I mean, where does it stop? Keith is sweating there slightly.
I'm giggling over the crazy color comment because we haven't looked deeply at Allure yet.
Oh, no, we haven't. And Allure reminds me of Doctor Strange on E-Pack.
Amanda knows because Amanda has played with Allure hockey. And
I love Allure. It's so beautiful.
It is going to be a fairly popular set, but the number
and the signer list
parallels.
The signer list is insane, but the parallels are also going to be insane.
Yeah,
so I haven't seen Allure, but I have heard, and you, Amanda, I guess you can tell me if this is not accurate, but that it's equivalent to like a Topps Chrome in terms of the presentation of the cards.
It's chrome. I don't have any of the really pretty parallel. Yeah, I don't have any. They're gonna show up nice on camera, but the rainbow. It's a literal rainbow across
Hmm.
the
I
player.
wanted
It's really pretty.
I wanted to be the knowledgeable one here and be prepared for this. So I have my distributor pages up. Your 100 card base set in Allure. You're going to have your base, no problem. Parallels include black rainbow, red prism, magenta, orange slice die cut, and steel parallels.
So here's an orange slice die cut from hockey.
Is that 5?
That's 5.
Okay.
Now, would you
And
like to know how many more are numbered parallels?
Okay,
Green-
so those aren't numbered. Okay, so 5. Okay, so we've got 6.
Yeah, those aren't numbered.
Green quartz, white diamond. Green quartz is 99, white diamond's 50, blue line is 35, purple rainbow is 10, golden treasures 1 of 1.
10. So we're back to kind of the metal.
So
era of-
Tony's great question. Yeah, is it possible to collect? Who's chasing all of that?
Me, you.
Actually, so the great part for me is Allure's an MCU set, so I get to sit on the sidelines. It's outside my bounds. I'm really there.
Here's a black rainbow, but I don't think it's going to show up on camera. It's based.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
it's
no, don't do us a disservice. Hold that up again. I was enjoying that.
it's hard to see. It has like what we would call a hollow
No,
foil
I get the vibe. I can see it. I can see it.
surface.
It's nice. I like the
Um,
depth of it.
Yeah, they're really pretty.
Mm.
This is where a
And
lot
I
of
don't.
Upper Deck was talking about that and comparing it to Vibranium,
Yes.
because again the card stock matches very well.
Mhm.
Mm.
And then of course I did the pregnant pause thing and all this. There's 3 more parallels. There's
Okay.
This is
red auto.
this is before EPAC.
This is red auto, purple diamond autos, and golden treasure 1 of 1 autos. Golden treasure 1 of 1s, golden treasure 1 of 1 auto. We're officially hands free off the cliff.
It's
Like,
bizarro world right now, isn't it?
Yes.
Um,
But what if you said collecting for you is just going to be a base set?
Hmm.
You just wanted the 100 plus 50 SPs that I didn't mention. And that was what you wanted to chase. Like you could stop there. You could have a
Yeah.
set. You brought up Masterpiece. People turn around and decide that, when they're going to chase that tier 4, they're going to get it in purple.
Yeah.
Because the purple
That's what I
are
do.
199s.
Yeah.
And you have a set. So now you have a set. You have every art that was in the base set. You have all 90 of them sitting there, no problem at all. And do you think your set is incomplete because you didn't get
No.
the most high end? So
and that's the thing. It's the whole, it's what I
Yeah.
always say. It's the whole choose your own adventure aspect of it. Now, and I think that's the way you have to go about it. It's like I don't have the room. I mean, this is a small room, and I've filled it already, as you can tell. But I, much as I loved WandaVision, I've no desire to own the base set or the parallels of the base set because I simply don't have room to store them all.
Mhm.
Have I chosen maybe 3 cards to Rainbow and get all the different parallels that with images on that I really like that sum up the series? Yes, I have. Keith, Amanda, and Billy. And I've done the same for Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I've done the same for Shang-Chi, I think. So there are elements of each of the sets that I kind of quite like the design on. So it's kind of like having a little like tapas. Just a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit which kind of works for me. And a lot of that is, I guess, to a certain extent, it's peripheral to the main stuff I collect. But it gives me that joy of collecting something at a relatively affordable price. Now, obviously, with something like Lure, if you're going to do that, it probably cost a lot more money. But on those other MCU sets, it's so far it's some gigs.
well, an allure should end up being something between $120 to $150 box,
Yeah.
which is going to be a little bit better. That's also 8 packs to a box.
Okay.
9 cards to a pack.
Oh wow.
So-
Okay.
You're still going to get quite a bit in there. Obviously,
Mhm.
there's a lot to it, and there's way more when you start talking about all the different pieces. I don't want to hype on that set alone, because actually I think that one of the most exciting sets coming up is going to be What If. I think that that's a fun one where we all get it's the MCU, but because it's not photos, I think it, appeals to a couple more people. Like it's going to feel more like comic art.
Mhm.
It's going to have that. That's a big piece about, again, people's feel into this. There's choices to be made. I don't think there's anybody left, no matter who you are at whatever scale, that can get it all anymore. Tony's question is very valid about that point in time.
Yeah.
There are breaks on there's a handbrake on everybody's collection, because go back to 1994, the most produced year of Marvel in the 90s, right? And you have a Masterpiece set, and you have a Universe set, and you had a Spider-Man set and a X-Men set.
Flair annual.
Yep.
Flair annual, sorry.
Yep. And that's a lot. That's a lot of sets. And the total individual cards, if you want to chase every card and every parallel and everything that was in it, which I don't think I think only the 94 Masterpiece had the gold signature parallels between all those.
And then the 3 sets of hollows, but yeah.
Yeah. You'd still be at less total cards than Allure has for all of its parallels before you even get to one-of-ones. The world's changed. It's a different mechanic.
Yeah.
And you're definitely going to have to pay attention and figure out your own boundaries.
Tony kind of goes to. Sorry, carry on.
Sorry, no. That being said, like, there are opportunities, and it all depends on where the limits you set for yourself. Like Heath said, the retail blasters, for someone looking for a base set, for someone looking for a fun rip that's not gonna break the bank, like, don't discount that. But the orange Fleer Ultra Avengers gave us a retail exclusive numbered parallel. Like that was huge. That was a huge improvement over the thought behind Spider-Man Metal retail blasters, which gave us a yellow, which was very much akin to the gold. It was hard to distinguish, with a little exception. But a numbered parallel that was exclusive. So that made it more attractive to rip. It also gave us the Ultra Stars, which was, the silver rainbow foil version of that was exclusive to retail. The blues and annual are stunning.
Yeah, those are really pretty.
So it's not just right. So it's double-sided now. It's not just here's a less expensive way for you to experience it. There's also something exclusive, an incentive, something that makes it more attractive. And then in a completely different direction, myself with Fleer Ultra Avengers, I did not break any of it to chase the cards that I was looking for. With the exception of the 101s, which haven't appeared, I have all the cards I'm looking for. I did that because there's an eBay seller who was doing character spots for case breaks. And I'm not saying that's something for everybody, because maybe it's not going to be as affordable an option as for you, Ian, as for someone that's collecting High Evolutionary. But it's still not a bad idea, and it's something worth exploring. And the main thing is, the main concept is to be open to different avenues to procure your collection. Because I bought into a case break where I got all the High Evolutionary cards in that case break for $14. And I got the auto in that. The auto out of 63.
Such a great hit.
And that's because I was open to whatever. And I wasn't dead set on the only way I'm going to get these cards is if I see them specifically listed, or if I buy product and open it for myself. So, you've got to use your imagination. You've got to use the community, because everybody, look, sellers, and I sell and whatnot, Keith and Amanda sell and whatnot. And I, communicate with plenty of other people who sell and whatnot. We feel the responsibility of like being creative to make it more appealing, right? And so that there's better chance of you getting what you want. Because that's going to be, if I can present a product, a purchase opportunity in a way that you have a good percent chance of getting what you want, and you're not going to be left with riffraff or cardboard junk as it was referred to, like you're going to be more inclined to come back. So we feel that motivation and that need in the market space. And so, I'm not the only one. Like, so my point is that there's going to be more people like that who are working hard to make sure they can offer you what you're looking for. So the opportunities are out there. You just have to be open to them. You have to, not to cross streams, but like, in the Snyder Cut, when Dark, we'll use the old ways, like we can't use the old ways anymore. Like Keith said, we're already, look at the calendar year and look at the most produced year of the 90s, and we've already got more sets put out than that. Can't use the old ways anymore. You have to be creative, innovative, think.
Emery Kriegsman, which is a great name, by the way. This is a long one, so settle in, have a drink. What is everyone's opinions on the last two sets of Fua and Annual being pretty readily available via retail, Target, etc.? Personally, I've enjoyed the ability to purchase either online or find them in the stores at retail cost. I like how they still made their retail blasters special with their own exclusive parallels, just what we were saying. It's actually got me back into set collecting, as the last few years I was only going for PC cards. I'm hoping this trend continues. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Without the insanity of the inflated craze with Spider-Man Metal Universe. There are plenty of collectors that just want to enjoy ripping packs and building a set, not overspending just to try and pull some crazy insert and get ROI. Leave that to the sports card collectors. His words, not mine. And make sure there's enough product out there that deters the flippers from buying out all the inventory and reselling it for twice the retail. Well done, Upper Deck, in these last two releases. That was the way to go. What say you, kids? There's enthusiastic nodding going on from Keith.
Absolutely enthusiastic. You're talking to an Upper Deck Diamond dealer, which would love people to come in and buy boxes from me, and I couldn't have been happier about the blaster product when it was out there, even before. And this is something that's now changed. They're now offering it out to stores like me. As long as you're an Upper Deck Diamond dealer, you can buy. I got in 60 blasters of Annual that I can sell here at the store, and I got them at a price tag that I could keep it exactly at the same competitive price that you get it at Target. But there was a mechanic several years ago that Wizards of the Coast, who produces Magic the Gathering, went to Amazon and started selling direct on Amazon. And you should have seen the pitchforks that were raised by retailers about how they're stealing our pennies and coming and coming for us, and this is just the end of everything that's going to be. The conversation with Wizards retailer support was, there are people who can't get to your store. There are people who don't have a card store. They don't have a game place. They don't have that. We're trying to reach everyone. We're trying to be out there to sell the product to everyone. And the blasters are such a fantastic product for that, because you keep the price point so much lower. Mm-hmm. If you look at the Marvel Annual at $20, you're getting, I want to say it's 5 packs. I don't think it was 6. It might've been 6. Everyone has a blue parallel. Everyone also has another insert card into it, whether it's just the sketchboard, the what do they call that? The canvas. Spot. Oh, I was thinking the canvas variant, the silver, the number one spot. No numbered cards in the blaster at all. That's something specific for hobby. So you want the numbered, you go chase that inside that. But they create a product that you get a decent stack of cards for $20.
The value's there.
It's great. It's fantastic. We all have to have our original memory of our first pack. Like, what hooked you in the beginning? What was that first one from the tobacco company that got you going? And what you can get inside of that with people getting introduced to it and at a lower price point, instead of coming into a shop and seeing a box of cards at anywhere from $100 to $500, and that's what you're looking at, or take your random roll with a pack, which you hope somebody else hasn't already searched through that box and and already pulled out the good stuff for you. You want a fair shake it at those cards. It's such a great thing, and this question at this point is so valid, because I do think that the availability of product at a price point that people can handle reinvigorates a collector. It definitely gives them an option. It's so smart, because ultimately Upper Deck sells out all their product and they don't make any money on aftermarket. They will not make $1 on a one of one sold for any amount of money. They don't make money on flipping green PMGs. That's not their model. They wanted to sell all the product, and they do just well at that. So they want to find as many collectors that are willing to buy the product for all the different reasons. Maybe you are just wanting to go buy the hobby box to find the green PMG. Good luck. But the keeping it open and available to everybody, it's so brilliant. And the fact that they're going to expand it, we have opportunity here to buy. They've even redone the sales channel now, and I can actually buy Fleer Ultra Avengers blasters now.
Wow. Okay.
For the store.
So someone else asked, because you kind of touched on this, it kind of brings it into the affordability stuff. Carl Varney, fellow Brit, asked loads of questions actually, but the one I'm going to is, should there be a collector, in quotation marks, set to future Marvel Masterpieces where all of the cards in the set can be bought in a collector's tin on thinner stock? Or should it remain as a premium set where only a fewer high-end collectors can own all the Tier 4 cards to complete a set?
I'd be all over that.
Yeah. I've thought of this a few times, actually. I would absolutely love it if they went back and released just a retail, no tiers, thin stock version of any of the previous Masterpieces sets.
1997 Fleer Ultra Spider-Man.
I wouldn't see that as devaluing the 2016 I've already got. Personally, I'm sure some people would, but
Keith, haven't they done that for Star Wars? Haven't they done like a box set of a full set and it just has like a separate stamp on it, like top something?
Possibly.
You get the whole set.
Yeah, possibly. They're doing so much stuff.
Like
They're doing so much stuff, especially their online releases and things like that. I can't keep up with it, but no, I like the idea of that, and I know that I would
love it, just because I'm in the minority, I think, on the thick cardstock. I don't care for it.
Well, we had this conversation, didn't we? Because of you with your grading hat on, which is probably your main hat. Would it be fair to say?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That thicker cardstock.
It flips sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
Billy's wearing the hat today.
Much like my halo. You've got. We had this conversation when you were on last time on episode whatever it was. You've got 8 corners.
Yeah.
On the thicker cardstock, to all intents and purposes. So, and all the pain that brings. So yeah, no, I one thing I really liked, and we know it's possible, that non-sport update promo for Masterpieces 2020 with Wolverine on. Thin cardstock, nice picture of Dave Palumbo on the back. Hats off to Upper Deck for actually putting some promos out in non-sport update, because that's a fun collectible thing.
With,
yeah,
Spider-Man.
They did. And a Hulk. Non-sport update was Hulk. Spidey was the Philly non-sports card shelf, I believe.
Right.
But not for 2018. I just think, listen, we're slightly veering off the question here, but it still slightly frustrates me that Upper Deck don't appear to see the value in putting those promos into places like non-sport, into those old legacy, whatever you want to call them, streams of release and marketing, such as non-sport update. because everyone else seems to. And you know, I love the stuff that comes from Non-Sport Update magazine, even if it's sets I'm never going to collect, because it gives you a taste. You know, it's like that. Oh, just a little taste, just a little bump, keeps you going. Anyway, moving on. Carl also asked, how do weekly releases, Unbound in brackets, fit into the collecting experience? It's certainly an experience, isn't it? Is this something that people enjoy, or has it become too much of a grind, negative experience?
Too soon, Carl. Too
Yeah.
soon.
Too soon. Well, listen, I think Carl, I think everyone's experiencing different aspects of this, apart from maybe me, because I'm comfortably sitting on the sidelines. I just see all the bombs that go off backstage on the admin of things like MCCW when goes south. Go Spider. Anyway, but
Oh
but
man,
it's a
how good
point.
does the semi-retirement feel on a Ghost Spider release?
I just feel bad. To be honest with you, I just feel bad for the guys who have to deal with it, because it's just some of the stuff that
Nobody
comes
felt
up.
bad for you. Don't.
Well, well, and that's not something I can control. That's that's their lookout. But it's I can see the frustrations, but I'm just glad I stepped off, because Marvel Weekly kind of trained me on this one.
So
And
see, but I loved Marvel Weekly.
yeah, no problem with the
Loved
set.
it.
No problem
So
with the set.
I
Yeah.
think the format, like that format, that style is, I think a lot of us really like it. The issue comes in where when you can't get through the servers, you don't
Well,
get
yeah.
notified of the drop, etc. But
Yeah.
that format, the weekly format, I really liked it for weekly. I
So
loved
that's interesting.
those sets.
So I guess the premise of the question is, a lot of people can't separate the format with the experience of the format, and that is a problem that's firmly with Upper Deck's system there,
Right. Sort of
because
like how people can't separate the artist from the website administrator.
Fred and
Feels
Ian,
so
bless
bad.
him, bless him.
Oh, those poor guys
Oh,
getting blasted.
oh, but Tops can do it with their living sets
Yeah.
quite happily, and various
Yeah.
other weekly releases like the Mandalorian chapter stuff. I mean, I'm not up to date with what Tops are doing with that stuff now,
But Upper
But
Decks,
those you, oh, go ahead, Keith.
I was just say Upper Decks got both sides, and neither one is delivering correctly. So Unbound, a known print run, we've got so many packs to be sold, everybody has to get on, and you're sold out in 6 to 12 minutes. You've got the weekly, say, Guardians one that's going on right now, which is an unlimited print run. It's not turned around and situated. There is a ratio, what is it, like 1 in 12 packs for SP, 1 in whatever the numbers are.
Yeah.
I don't follow it that well, but you've got an SP and an SP card to chase each week too inside that. So you've got it seems like these two polar sides need something in the middle, and you need to find something creative. We sat there, there were several of us who were chasing all the achievements at the end of Unbound 1. We were sitting there talking about it, and we're like, all right, how do you fix this for Unbound 2? That there's too much popularity for this, that 1,000 cards is not enough. You just absolutely know. And doubling the print run helped, but throwing the sketch in, I think, kept the demand too high.
The heat's still under that pan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So like my wild off the wall is that you could buy packs for 48 hours. It's an unlimited print run. What happens is you could buy packs, but you can't open packs for 48 hours because we don't know how many packs are going to be out there. They're going to turn around and have a base card unnumbered inside of it to fill the difference. And then there is the thick stock serial number to 999. There is the canvas serial number to this. Like it's just there's an unlimited version, and then you don't even know how many inserts there really are until the 48-hour period is done. And then that now that there was 5,000 packs purchased, so now there's 1 in 5 will get one of those base kinds of cards. It's a very unique way of doing it, and I don't even know if it works, because I think many people want to know their gambling odds before they put their money on the table. But there definitely still is demand to move the number of Unbound cards up. than what they're offering right now. And we had the question earlier about, is it possible to collect? I thought Unbound was actually a good example of where you could collect a full set. You could collect all 52 cards. It's just such a bad experience in purchasing the card every week.
It really is. It
that
shouldn't be stressful, and it is.
And you get too many people that understand how computers work and know how to jump around in it. And everybody claims bots and all this. It's not really that, but you just know how their system is set up and where to like jump in and do this and do this and do this and be able to get plenty of packs when you want to buy the packs. And that's not fair to everybody. They need a better queue system. Like if they had, there's plenty of stuff out there. Funko Pops have NFTs, and the demand for how much that they want to sell in those NFTs way exceeds what they produce. But they use queuing software where you join into the queue. Everybody who's logged in 1 minute too at that time when it goes live, everybody gets a random number and you're shuffled in place. First person there is not necessarily the first person to buy. And then you complete your transaction, it goes to the next people. They let in 100 people at a time for the purchase of 1 pack, 2 packs, 5 packs, whatever their rules are. Upper Deck could invest in this infrastructure and get better with it.
That's the thing. It's not a huge investment either. It really isn't. I mean, I know this from because it's quite a common thing in ticketing, with on sales and things.
The worst part is that for all the frustration, for all the people who are upset and irritated about it, they will continue to sell out. So you're left in a business position where you don't have to actually fix the customer service problem because you haven't pissed off enough people to not sell out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next year there will be a digital and a combinable. That's going to be their solution. Is to just add more cards.
They do have an NFT version that they're on their NFT marketplace that collect forever type thing, and you do think that something is going to turn around and move towards this.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Carl, also this is an interesting one. From Carl. Do we as collectors have a right to have more interaction with Upper Deck regarding upcoming and future releases? Do you think we can then budget our expenditure better knowing when and what's coming?
No, that's not the way. That's not look. And I'm the least familiar of the four of us with any sort of business sense and the way the world economy works. Like that is not the way commerce works. You do not get a heads up from the farmer when the price of eggs is going to change. And like you don't get to meet the chickens. We have rare access as is.
Yes.
And it's a little it's a little greedy to want more than we already have, but no, that's just not the way it works. It's never going to happen. That they're going to do things the way they're going to do it for their own reasons. We can make up whatever reason we want and all be wrong about why they do things the way they do.
Yeah.
It could be by design. It could be by circumstance. But if we want to play, we just got to take it.
I mean, it could be a pain point they're just blissfully unaware of for whatever reason, because they're just not listening to the right radio station, whatever the metaphor's supposed to be. But they are a private company at the end of the day. I mean, they have a well-loved brand as an IP to play with, but they are a private company. So, I mean, they've not been on this for a year or so. Hoping that's going to be changing. I've spoken to them, but partly because I don't think they've had an awful lot to say because they haven't had a lot coming down the pipe. The floodgates have now opened, so they've got plenty to talk about. But
I think some of us are trying to pull them in a little bit more when we can.
Yes.
I think actually, Amanda, you do a great job with engaging the Upper Deck reps that you have access to and bringing out information that we've seen through your channel. I think that's really strong in that area, because I do think that from everything I've ever met, I've met Upper Deck people on the retailer side at event called Gamma, which is the game trade event. Everybody I've ever met that's involved with them is actually pretty personable, and
Yes.
is
Yeah.
they don't, there's some information they can't tell you. That's the nature of the beast.
I get that a lot.
There's a marketing schedule that they're trying to meet, and they can't give away the secrets and blow up what's going to be the path. But when you do get to talk to them, they're there to be personal, to be fun with, and all this, and engage. And I think that the right people, like again, Ian, you've had him on the podcast. Amanda, you've had him on your channels there, and all this. Like, to turn around and see that is a lot of fun to get a little bit of a piece of something, and
There are just, like you mentioned, there's just, unfortunately, there's just things they can't tell us. We
Yes.
can't, and people get really frustrated at that. And so I can see at the same time where maybe not everybody wants to make themselves available to that.
there's some level that they don't know, because
Right.
especially with what happened with the production stoppage, through COVID, and where we're at today as to what's picked up. It's the idea that none of us really actually realized all the moving pieces that have to be there. Design and the team putting together the set, that's one thing, and getting it there. But then you got to have your print house who's going to turn around and do this. And sometimes you need multiple print house, because the metal cards are going to be done somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then you actually almost guaranteed, because I know this was a problem. Again, I'm going to reference back to things I know in Magic. There was delays in Magic, not because the cards couldn't be printed, but because the packaging couldn't be printed. And that's a totally different area there. The box may be a different place than even the wrapper. It's a lot of moving pieces and getting things on the schedule. And if something delays, if something fires off and goes late, then you have to make decisions at that point in time. There's tremendous speculation out there, because no one's seen in Flair Ultra Avengers the Simone Bianchi autographed Venom, right? And nobody has confirmed that those came back late and didn't make packs. But we all kind of put two and two together, kind of feel like that's the case, and that potentially that's still a problem today, and they're trying to get them inserted into the E-Pack run, and that's why E-Pack hasn't happened fast enough. Potentially it's just about scanning that many cards and getting it available inside E-Pack. So many moving pieces that it's really tough to know. What I see in the way of the dates that are being offered out there for a new product as a retailer, when they make an announcement that a new product is available to order, they give you obviously an estimated date. A long time it's been sitting there and going Q2 2023, September of 2023, things like this. Most of the new stuff has had new dates, and most of the dates here that were assigned to new product announced this year have been correct. The ones that keep sliding from the past, the Allure, the Beginnings, the different things like that, those still end up being flexible. And I just feel like that they just keep getting bumped because the new priority has to get completed to keep that train on time, and we're waiting for the other ones to kind of find a time to just kind of sneak in there and get done and get up to date.
Look, and let's not forget the collectible climate, and Fanatics making all these waves with their acquisitions, and anything proprietary and even slightly confidential is going to be even more heavily guarded, because there's a there's a sense of somebody else is out there looking to gobble up properties and IPs and contracts. And we want to be that much more secure with how we handle information releases regarding our own, how we do things, because we want to continue to be a competitor in this market. And so, us, the collectors, that's definitely a part of why we feel the sting of, feeling like we're left out without enough information.
Yeah.
We're always gonna, we'll all keep trying though. I recently set up at the Toronto Expo, and there were folks from Upper Deck there, and even so we went to dinner, had a couple drinks. Still, I'm gonna hit them with, my thing is I like to try to get print run numbers. This is what I'm hung up on. What's the print run for this? What's it? Nope. Even multiple drinks in, I don't know what kind of training they go through. Can't tell you. Won't tell you. trying.
It's military
Amanda,
grade.
now it's never going to happen. Now it's never going to happen that you put it out there.
Well, they know what you're after now.
You might have been one drink away last time.
Ah.
And now they're going to be extra on their guard.
I know, but some of us are always out there trying.
Keep going. Do it for the team.
I'm not saying truth serum is needed, but
Jake McManus actually came up with several questions that kind of feed into that. So I'm gonna do these one at a time because they feed into something else, which then feeds into someone else's question. So believe it or not, I'm structuring things. Would it be better for Upper Deck to do tons of affordable and still cool annual sets? Which, by the way, he says, how good of a job did UD do on annual this year? Amazing, I personally think. Quite a few people have said that, actually. Would it be better for UD to do tons of affordable and still cool annual sets and then have less premium sets, or simply have a clear divide? I mean, I think the divide's kind of there to a
There is
degree.
Divide.
Yeah,
Already,
I mean, it's
I
there,
think.
it's visible. I mean, partly down to the price and whether it's original art or not original art, or et cetera, et cetera.
Is his question based upon the fact that the initial conversation, the initial price point of Spider-Man Metal was not going to get to the price point that it did in the market? And it feels like that's the case, because we had talked about previously being that, the entry level products of annual and things like this. And then the tier up from that was the metal sets and Flare and things like that. And then the tier up from that was your Fleer Ultras, and then the masterpieces and premieres are even above. And that the line got so destroyed because Spider-Man hit that perfect, storm of consumer need and silly expenditures, which I definitely fed into that myself. And turned around and became where that set was originally priced from wholesale to be in your stores at about $100 a box. I think there were some people that originally got in the first buys at about $100 a box, 120 maybe. And for that to skyrocket to 600, 480 on e-Pack, I think that
was
seems
wild.
I'm trying to read the in-between line on what he's asking inside the question, and it seems like that feels reasonable as to kind of a finger point.
Yeah, I mean, it's if I read you the next parts of it, it kind of, I think it's kind of a thought ladder, if you like.
Okay.
So the next part of it, would we like a deadline of a set every 3 months like Pokemon do? Then he goes on to ask, would we want to see 20 sets a year like some sports? We're almost going to hit that this year, actually, aren't we? Let's face it.
Your number and pace this year is 15.
See, Keith bringing the knowledge.
I know,
Yeah.
isn't he like such a
Yes.
nerd?
All I do is numbers. I love numbers. I love doing it. You mentioned print runs. I love working that kind of stuff backwards. I think it's the most fascinating pieces of this whole thing is to kind of know the details out there. So
Ian, you need to have Keith and JD on and just have a print run
Man.
extravaganza.
Well, can we have Matt Parks on as well? Because Matt, when he does his spreadsheets,
He does
Oh, okay.
his spreadsheets are very solid.
yeah.
The day before Fleer Ultra Blasters came out, Keith messaged me. He's like, it's 84,000. 84,000 boxes. I'm like, what? It's like Fleer Ultra Blasters retail. He's like, it's 84,000 boxes. I figured it out.
It's got this image of you sitting there like that savant with all the numbers like floating around in there like that.
I will tell you what, sometimes it's very easy to determine. So here's the Fleer Ultra Avengers blaster count was very easy to determine. Every blaster contains an orange serial numbered card. Every orange serial numbered card is serial numbered to 549. Take however many that there were inside the base set, the Silver Age, all the inserts, multiply that by 549. That's the exact count of how many blasters exist in the world, because it's a known serial number to a known ratio. You have to have
Upper Deck
those
has
two
told
things.
me that they try to avoid that.
Yeah,
So
much
you
to the
can't-
chagrin of Upper Deck.
So you
Which
can't
is-
do that kind of math.
So I thought we were going to be able to work the retail boxes based upon the serial numbered inside a retail box, because remember how in Spider-Man Metal you get one serial numbered
Or
card.
hobby, you mean?
Yeah, hobby. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
Only one not drinking, by the way.
Yeah, it doesn't mean I'm right. It's funny you bring up Matt Parks, and there's been plenty of times I've been like firing off the numbers, and he's like, "Yeah, but you did this wrong," and I'm like, "Oh, you're totally right." So, but I thought that we were going to have in Fleer Ultra Avengers hobby boxes one serial numbered. And it's not close. I've opened up cases where a box has
And
no
that's
serial
on
number,
purpose.
and I have another one that has 3 serial numbered in there. Well, and
Yeah.
they turned around, they threw off the whole math because of the unannounced ultra not ultra power, not ultra stars, but the ultra power variant that's in there that throws off the math too. So no, they definitely hide it. They don't want it. They don't want it to be known.
Yeah, they're fucking with you. So Jake's kind of circled this to land. I know I've just compared our beloved Marvel to other products, but I firmly believe we are our own entity. Thoughts on this? So this is kind of where this train's going.
Own entity as opposed to sports, or
I'm guessing so, yeah. As
Or other
opposed to
non-sports he mentioned, where they come out on a schedule, and
But-
we kind of march to the beat. That we march to the beat of our own drum.
yeah.
Not a true comparison to one of the others.
No. I guess not. But there was an earlier question from Carl that's on a similar vein, so I kind of wanted to tie them together. Will Marvel trading cards remain relatively niche, or do you think it will become mainstream? Now, my thoughts on this is that there's a massive drive to make Marvel cards more accessible and open. There's content creators are all singing from that hymn sheet, and it's great and it's laudable and it's wonderful. I don't know how. I mean, the blasters are a great thing from that point of view, but you think about the fact that blasters are kind of around now, and if you're talking about younger generation, it's going to be a while till they grow up. They're always going to have that whole story where they go off and discover girls and do college, and then they'll come back to it. So, how
I never discovered girls.
No, they're everywhere.
Much to our chagrin.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Throw a rock and you'll hit one. Don't do that. But that went dark. My train of thought was going to be. I think I don't. When you say become mainstream, it's like they're not hiding. They're there.
Right. And I think I know what he means, and I've experienced some frustration over this, because my thinking was always Marvel properties, the IP comics, movies, so popular, right?
Yep.
Why isn't that translated? But it's becoming, and this, working theory, whatever opinion, belief, that collecting is a personality trait. Like there's some people, as much as they love the fiction, the characters, looking at the art, seeing something on TV, they might have seen, Avengers 20 times in the theaters. The idea of collecting things and owning them and looking at them and putting them on a shelf or whatever it is that we do with them, has zero appeal to them. And to us collectors, it's intuitively a foreign concept that, why? This is cool. Why wouldn't you want to have it? Some people aren't sentimental. They're not sentimental about the property. And I don't know why it's not switching to me. I'm just looking at you. They're not sentimental about the property. They're not sentimental about, owning physical items. Maybe they're minimalists. Maybe they spend their money elsewhere. They have different values. But I think that those are the people that would, that would be required to make it mainstream. And we're just not going to get them because they're fundamentally built different than we are.
See, I think I see it happening though, like just in my anecdotal experience setting up. So I set up recently at the end of March at the collectible show, Mint in Las Vegas, which is predominantly sports. And then I followed that up with setting up at the Sports Expo in Toronto. And at the Mint, I was pretty much the only non-sport table there, but I was really well received. And same at Toronto. Toronto was mainly hockey, but there was a lot of other sports, a little bit of non-sport. Um, but people would come up to the table and they just had no idea. They were just like, oh my gosh, there's cards for this? Like, so I mean, we see it all the time.
Interesting.
And we're really used to it. But there were a lot of people there, like even kids even, who were like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know these were a thing. So, and I do see more, like Keith mentioned, I'm starting to do more hockey. So I do have, I think, a little more crossover. And I am seeing a lot of the sports guys, and not like sports guys in like the negative that frequently gets used in the groups. There are a lot of people who got priced out of sports, discovered Marvel, and now actually really love it, and who are here for it, and who, you see it on Instagram more now, where people who were like their Instagram was entirely sports, now they're mixed, and not all of those people are flipping. Like, I think a lot of people see those folks and assume like, oh, he's just PMG hunting or, whatever. But I really do think there's more positive crossover that's happening, which I think will take Marvel more mainstream.
If I was in college and I had to write a thesis, to graduate and all this would hit so close to what I've focused so much time on thinking, because again, as a business owner who's inside this too, turns around and has to decide and make sure that we're not following down the path of the Beanie Baby kind of idea with what I do business wise. This hits on so many different things. I'm going to kind of like try to whirlwind through, because you guys had some really amazing points that have been inside my head and inside my experience out there for a long time. One of the biggest deals is why would people come to this? Why do you think there's going to be a new person buying Marvel cards? And the why is, why do they want to be part of it? Why are they here to invest? Are they here to turn around and build a collection? Are they here to extend upon their love of, comics, or their love of Marvel movies, and they're going to have that. So Billy hits on the whole point that there's part of it's a breed of person. A collector is a different type of a person than, we're just healthy hoarders, right? It's that idea that, we are focused and we have that. We may enjoy what we're doing and know that it has some kind of value behind it, but at the core basis of collection and all this, you're not really concerned that much about the value, except for making sure that what you buy is fair. So, you want to buy something for your collection and all this. I don't want to overpay for it, but I when I spend $200 on a card, it's going in a black hole. It's not worth $200 anymore because I'm not putting it up for sale. So it's not the same as value there. Then you get into who's going to shepherd those people in. Where are these people going to get this information? And efforts like Amanda's to hit these shows and to just showcase it out there. Efforts like Eugene's when he was at the National with a just, hey, look at what this is. Look at how cool this type of thing is. And, there's conversations that are definitely going to have to be different based upon who comes up to their, like the idea of a sports collector wanting to put some money into this and have some value out of what they get to it. It's easy because they're looking at stuff that's so dirt cheap compared to what they're dealing with of one rookie card from this football phenom, kind of like, to them, it's like, you guys are in the kiddie leagues here. You guys don't even play with real money kind of idea. So who's going to introduce them and bring them over? If they're going to be shepherded in by efforts like Upper Deck with blasters, with efforts like Amanda, at shows, as opposed to, there were some bad influences over some of the different YouTube type content over there. There were a couple people that were known in sports as not reputable type thing, but they were kind of creeping into our territory, right? And coming in and having these conversations. they will bring people who are very much looking at quick flip money. Can I turn around and turn $10,000 into $20,000 because that sounds amazing, as opposed to anything that has longevity, because quick flip money always will settle out. Even if we overall raise the value of all of our Marvel cards, if they're all worth more tomorrow than they are today, it still stops the quick flip opportunities. I just got back a whole stack of Vibranium cards that I had sent into grading, and I definitely have missed the strike while the iron's hot time on those, where they would have been just selling for way more. It's who's going to shepherd them in. Why are they here to turn around and do this? And I'm going to wrap it to one thing that's inside comics that's seen very strongly by us who deal in comics. The newer generation that's willing to invest and buy into comics, and I'm going to point at Billy down here, not because it's him, but because all those graded comics behind him. They love to buy a graded comic of a first appearance of a character and watch it go up in value. They can watch it consistently increase in value. It's the stock market that they understand. The stock market that somebody who's under 30 right now, you say the word stock market, their first mindset is trauma, because it's listening to the crashes, it's listening to the negativity and all this. But a physical item that they could feel trusted, that they bought the first appearance of Spider-Man, they bought the first appearance of Venom, they have that in their hand, they watch its value go up, and they have the power themselves by online places like eBay and Facebook to move that money when they want to. It gives them a level of control over an investment portfolio that they don't get inside of a stock market. And it becomes where this new generation will put so much more money into a collectible that they have some little sentimental attachment to, but they will be out there, not on a golf course, because that's not where they hang out, wherever the cool kids are hanging out today. I don't know. I'm not invited, but they'll be out there talking about, hey, I bought Amazing Spider-Man 300 in 9.8 condition. I'm just watching that thing. Woo, it's going right on up and all this. That's the same conversation that the old fuddy-duddies are having on the golf course about how they invested in Xerox, and Xerox is really staking, blah, blah, blah. And they're talking about their stock portfolio. But the new generation is going to be into this type of mechanic of a portfolio. And those people aren't bad to us. Those people aren't bad to be involved with us, that they want to turn around and buy out, 94, sets and be part of our community and things like this, and watch as it goes up. Because if there was just more people into it, the demand would just inherently make the value of the cards go up. So this isn't a bad thing to fight against.
Well, Billy was touching his mic there. I thought he was about to say something. I thought he was just caressing it in a loving way.
The dog was about to go nuts and didn't want to.
Oh, okay.
Subject the audience.
You've mentioned this dog a couple of times, and I've yet to hear it. So unless it's some sort of phantom menace, what type of dog is it?
I think it is. I think he might be a menace, actually.
Really? Oh, he's gone to get the dog.
I can certify that there is a dog.
Okay, this is good.
There's two. There's two dogs.
Two dogs. Okay.
There are two dogs, Remy and Wade.
Oh, yes. Okay. I remember now. Very good.
A Corgi Beagle and a Labrador Shepherd Retriever mix.
All right, I'm disappointed. I thought you were going to come back to the camera with said animals.
No. Right.
I'm going to do Agents of Chaos.
I'm going to do some that I think are relatively quick fire. So should we do some quick fire, Shizzle?
Are we able to? I think we're all pretty.
Well, you know what? I mean, we've done some pretty deep stuff here, and there's some really good stuff that we haven't done. But I'm just mindful of time, and also the fact that there could be a good part two. Right,
there he is. Okay.
Yes. There he is.
He says, reading this, what company has made the best cards and why? Amanda, go.
Ooh, Rittenhouse, because I love a matte finished card, and they gave them to me all the time.
Billy, which dog is that?
That's Remy.
Hello, Remy. Can you hear me?
Remy's not the
No.
problem though.
No, because
Yeah.
you're Billy, what company's made the best cards and why? Go.
Oh, Skybox.
As in the original 90s one, not the
As
current
in the
brand
original
used in.
90
Yeah.
ones. Yeah. They lit the torch. Everybody else just carried it.
Keith?
Upper Deck Breath of Work.
Nice. Okay. Nice range of answers there. What is the best 90s and why?
1990s. Oh, that's not the question.
What's the best 90s set? He's saying.
Well, the literally it's
Oh.
what is the best 90s and why. So I'm assuming yes, they're talking about 90s set.
Sticking with Marvel, I'm assuming.
Well, give us one of each. Give us a Marvel and another set that happens to be whatever. Shall I do mine while
Yes.
you're thinking about it?
Yeah,
I'm gonna go controversial here, because everyone thinks it's probably going to be a Marvel Masterpieces set. But much as I love those, it's not necessarily about what's personal preference. It's about what's the best one. For my money, Amazing Spider-Man 1994, the Mark Bagley one. I mean, when else have you had the artist that's currently
that's a
drawing
fantastic set.
do the whole set, and it's just so much fun. And yeah, I love it. It's just such a fun set, and it's so accessible, it's so affordable to collect. It's got a couple of cheeky, difficult bits like the golden, web parallels, but apart from that, it's a really nice, satisfying set to have. That's my vote. I'll think of something else tomorrow, but that's my vote.
Yeah,
You're
I think that
looking-
it does change a lot. So for me, Marvel, I'm gonna go 94 Flirt Ultra X-Men because I think that's my favorite. I think 90s. I love that set. I think that's the one I have the most nostalgia tied up in.
Ah.
Non-Marvel.
I was going to say it's interesting. He said what is the best, not because if I was going to say my favorite, I'd say Marvel Universe 92.
Oh, best.
Yeah.
But
Should we
that's
come back
so
to you?
subjective.
I know it is.
So
That's the thing. It is subjective, which is why I deliberately tried to think of something that
it
wasn't my
ultimately
natural
becomes
go-to.
my favorite.
Yeah. Keith's got kind
No,
of.
I was
That's
on 94 Fleer Ultra X-Men.
Oh, okay.
There's definitely obviously, everybody's mind gravitates towards 96 Masterpiece for what it was. But I didn't get my 96 Masterpiece until 20 years after that. So for that reason, I love the set. I appreciate it. I'm deeply into it, but I'm gonna have to think about kid nostalgia, and that was 94 X-Men. I almost said 95 X-Men because I will always remember that Professor X Boris Vallejo card that just absolutely just burned a hole in my mind, and it was just like, it's like this is taking it to 11.
For me, it's the binder. It's that binder image of Wolverine cutting through.
That Dave DeVries is amazing.
We're looking at you, Billy.
Not popular, but 92 X-Men Series 2, gold foil parallels, colored holograms. The Wolverine hologram was a super short print. First TV set. It checks a lot of boxes.
Nice. I don't know if that would be unpopular. I think that's a solid choice. Okay, good.
But I do agree. My one of my favorites is also 92 Marvel Universe Series 3. The layout, the power levels.
Yeah. Marvel Universe 92 is just chef's kisses. No Black Cat in that though. I'd love a Black Cat. I tell you, this is one of my one of the things I've never done because I always forget this. I kind of remember this idea once every 6 months and think, oh, why haven't I thought of that before? And then I think, oh, I have actually thought of that before. I want to get a commission done of someone to draw a Black Cat as if it was from Marvel Universe 1992.
Oh, that's cool. That's
with the
a cool
background, the
idea.
bordering, and everything like that. But I never literally that I'll forget it. I've actually committed it to this recording, so hopefully I'll remember it now.
You know who's going to do that?
What's that, sorry?
You know who would kill that? are you happy with your current cable TV provider?
Oh, Tony. Oh, yeah. Tony absolutely would. Tony
This would
would
be-
nail it.
If you wanted to go completely true to the era, when you go find Bat, isn't Bat who did the Felicia Hardy miniseries? It's not anybody we know from Marvel Cards. This would be comic
he's-
related.
Yes.
Yeah, he's more like
Yes.
did more image stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
like
Hmm.
because I was
Interesting.
thinking like Ron Lim, era, like it's the era there and all this.
Is
But
the
again,
era, but yeah.
I think this will come down to a lot of personal opinion of yours.
Well, yes, and also who's available and who's actually willing to do
Sure.
a commission as well. Because I mean, if I had my absolute go-to, I'd have Mark Bagley do it
Sure.
on a 2.5 by 3.5, but he won't probably. I don't think he does work in that size. Maybe he does. I don't know. Maybe no one's asked him. Never. These are all from Peter, by the way. TC Wallets and more. He goes by on Facebook, but I can't remember what his real name is. Peter something.
I was going to bring him up because he's
podcast.
local. We were
Yeah.
talking about junk cards. He's my outlet for junk cards.
Yeah, Marrow and Maggot, right?
Yeah, anything that I turn around. Well, no, like if I find cards that are damaged and I'm not going to sell them and all this because of what he can do with TC Wallets. I'm now building him stacks that go in that direction. So
Oh, nice.
Oh, I have a stack of those, but mine are for Charles Hall.
that's fair.
We all have a
Yeah.
damaged card stack.
Yeah.
um,
It used to be the
He's-
trash can for Amanda.
he's asked, never collected a Rittenhouse set. What are some of the funnest sets from this era?
All of them.
The Rittenhouse era, he means.
I mean,
Mm. He
Oh,
he would enjoy X-Men.
X-Men Archives.
Archives.
Yeah.
He would
Oh.
enjoy X-Men.
That's
Archives.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Archives. The Spider-Man Archives. is
Spider-Man Archives
fantastic.
is stunning. I've got a soft spot for Women of Marvel for obvious reasons.
Mhm. Dangerous Divas.
Dangerous Divas, but I'm going to go to the other end of their spectrum from where they were kind of in charge. In fact, there's two. Marvel 75th,
Mm.
Okay.
because I just think the forwarding on it is lovely. And Legends of Marvel, their kind of part works, the one where they
Mhm.
brought out 9 cards, 3 characters every quarter for like 4 years or something like that.
I was so lucky. My distributor hooked me up with the same serial number all the way through the series.
I had the same. I mean, I sold it about 2 years ago. But yeah, no, Ed Webb hooked me up with the same serial number on that one.
Yeah.
And it was just, but they're beautiful cards. Really good. For those who character collect, why did you select them? And did any of these find you? Billy.
I don't.
I feel like this is I've been asked this so many times.
Because it won't apply to Keith. I'm sure I've asked you, but I can't remember.
No,
Because
no,
it's
but
now
I
half
mean,
past 10 at night in the
it
UK.
feels
I've had a
almost
whiskey.
like like just like a story that's been, I don't know. So
Just give us the York Notes version.
no. I feel bad for anybody who's heard it before. It came through comics. It was in when comics were picking it back up around when Captain America died. And I would go to different stores and they would have these big sales, and I would just go through, long boxes, and I came across the Evolutionary War, which was a 12 or 14 part story where it was all about the High Evolutionary. And I know they had done that other times. But this was, I'm pretty sure it was the first time that it spread across the annuals, right, Keith?
Was
Of different titles.
Atlantis Attacks before that?
That was
all
a year after.
Atlantis Attacks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Atlantis Attacks was a year after. So this is the first time that it spread across different titles where, the conflict involved the Punisher, Silver Surfer, X-Men, X-Factor, New Mutants, Spider-Man, Avengers, West Coast Avengers. And I was just sucked in by the idea that, he was so much to handle. And I related to that.
Sorry.
It sounds narcissistic, but it probably is. but there was a lot of relatability for me, and how he made himself everything he was, and he didn't start off as much, and he just wanted to be better, and he cared for everything everybody around him that he tried to make better, even though it didn't always seem that way. So it's a tragic anecdote for my coming of age.
Well, you definitely hit Amanda's chuckle button there. That's worth the price of admission alone. She's gone. I don't think we're going to get anything from her now. Amanda, bullseye.
How do I follow that?
I think the idea is that you don't. I think you just carry on regardless. Go on, Spirit of the Blitz. Keep going.
Yeah, I just like Bullseye. I prefer villains. I've always preferred villains, and Bullseye is one of the few Marvel characters who I think has always remained a villain. He's never, even when he was faking as Hawkeye, he was still killing people. The people he kills, for the most part, stay dead. Not counting what's her face.
Electra.
Trash Ninja.
Yeah, Trash Ninja.
Did you like
So-
him before he was Hawkeye?
Or because he was Hawkeye. I think that's what we're getting at here. It's kind of layers of the onion here.
I was just trying to get the timeline. That's all.
Anyhow,
She hates
so
Hawkeye.
I really appreciate the consistency of his character and that they actually let him murder people.
Good. Keith, there's no point in me looking at you because you don't character collect.
But he does have a favorite.
But if you were going to character collect,
I have a favorite, and Cable's my favorite character.
Nice.
And he's my favorite because of all the wrong reasons. That he has the most convoluted, weird story that you can't possibly hope to know unless you just go that uber nerd on him kind of idea to know all the details. What impressed me was that there was nuggets left out years before in the story that they started tying up, and it was something I was very impressed with Claremont and all the things X-Men and Cable became the lightning rod for that idea.
We're back to the Tony Perna question about your cable provider, but we won't go there with that joke.
Black Cat.
I know. Do we know why you picked Black Cat?
Oh, I've talked about it. But yes,
actually, I think we do know. There's a
yeah.
tingle involved.
Hey, who will say that again? Sorry.
No, go
A
ahead.
tingle?
A tingle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think-
Yeah. I mean, I won't lie. It tingles me. No. In the UK, they were reprinting Amazing Spider-Man as they do in various and had done since the early 70s, and this went through to the early 90s, and they still reprint it now, but it's in a different format. But in the UK, it used to be in a weekly format. And outside of that, they then started doing some fortnightly or monthly titles that were full color. So the weekly ones were always kind of the cheapest copy, newsprint. They started doing some higher quality ones. Spider-Man and Zoids was the one. So Zoids is obviously being the toy line. The comics for that were absolutely brilliant. I think it was some of, I want to say Grant Morrison early work on Zoids, strangely enough. But Spider-Man and Zoids, and so they were reprinting stuff from Amazing Spider-Man around that time. Like the issues with Hobgoblin and Puma, kind of around the 240s, 250s, 260s. And Black Cat was very popular at the time, always in Spectacular Spider-Man and crossing over, and there she was. And I was like, I was absolutely smitten as a very impressionable 12, 13-year-old. Formative years. So what can you do? But weirdly, I didn't start collecting her until I was in my 30s. So yeah, there was a good 20 plus year gap. Someone else asked me this question, and Amanda, you're kind of spoilt for choice on this because Bullseye's being portrayed on the screen a number of times. But Justin Treese asked me who my ideal actress to play Black Cat in the MCU would be. And I'm struggling to think of anyone who's uber current. But if I go back, maybe, I mean, she's still active and does stuff, but I don't know what she's up to at the moment. But Alice Eve, who was in Star Trek Into Darkness, blonde actress,
Mm-hmm.
she would be kind of my number one choice at the moment, I think. But yeah, Billy, you've just had the joy of your character appearing in
Is
the
that what we're calling
MCU.
it?
Well, I haven't seen it yet, so no spoilers.
No,
for
no,
me.
no spoilers. But you know,
But was it a
and
fulfilling experience for you?
the portrayal or the film, because James Gunn has already come out and said that it's, you know, it's not derivative of, you know, it's different identity,
Okay.
very loosely based off of him. And obviously, you know, some of his attitudes and the way he was portrayed is not consistent with what I know him to be. So it was enjoyable. You know, it was a great movie. 2 spots, you're definitely gonna cry. I mean, like, ugly cry, like. But no, it's unfortunate. It's all I'm gonna get, and the you know, not to give you an alley-oop here, but the taste that's left in people's mouths from him is not a savory one, and
Okay.
it's almost gonna make me a little public enemy for supporting him.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Amanda, Colin Farrell, discuss.
I think he's a fine actor, maybe just not for Bullseye.
I fucking love that movie. I
I
absolutely
never
love that
miss.
movie.
So I go long enough in between watching that
Mhm.
I convince myself, like, you know what, let me try to watch that again. It's so bad, Ian. It's so
Oh, it's
bad.
great.
I don't like my Bullseye. That Bullseye trips too close to the Joker for me. Sometimes they write him in a way that I think is
Interesting.
too, like, he's a hired assassin. Like, he's not supposed to be like super chaotic. So that was a little too far in that direction for me. I don't know that I have anybody. I liked the Netflix series. I liked
Still haven't
that
seen
actor.
season 3. Still haven't seen it.
Ian.
Hmm.
Oh my God, the fight scenes in that.
I know. I know. I know.
I wish I had known. I would have refused to come on until you watched it.
Very
Like, what's
dare
the
you.
hold up?
What's the hold up? Well, it's time to watch it when. Well, I don't get any time to watch stuff without the wife around because our window of opportunity to watch stuff is minimal. I can't watch it with the kid around. I'm not
Right.
going to watch it on this because you know.
Yeah,
So
all right,
I
fine.
need to convince her that we need to watch it.
We'll do it because it's
And
really good.
I mean, the thing is, she's behind on the MCU stuff to the point I don't think she's even seen Civil War, so she's probably
She
however
doesn't
old
need to
out.
watch any of that for
Well,
Daredevil.
no, to be honest with you, no, I think she's not watched. Well, listen, she's however many years our kid is, and I can understand she's been busy with other stuff. So you know, um, but no, she's well behind on Marvel stuff. But yeah, Daredevil season 3. I'll work on it. I'll work on it.
I
I
think
can.
I'm
Keith,
in the
your thoughts on
minority.
Brolin?
Who?
Thanos Cable.
Yeah, Thanos Cable. What'd you think?
I think I have the exact same problem that you have with your character on the big screen, which is that our idea and our love from him comes from all the depth we know and all the story, and you just can't portray that. You knew it was never gonna get there. You knew you were never gonna get, like, that's my guy, that's my version kind of thing up there. So I don't think Brolin did a bad job at all. I think it's fine, but I think it focuses on a very small area of what Cable is, and so it's always going to be, not enough Cable for me.
Need to get a new cable provider, don't you? Right. Tony's going to be loving.
To answer Tony's question,
That was
fact.
really good, Ian.
Yeah, well, Tony's going to be loving the fact.
Yeah, his question actually,
he's
got in there.
he's doing well. Who is the next Marvel Masterpieces artist? Come on, someone knows. Spill the beans.
We're sworn to secrecy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We could tell you, but we'd have to kill you.
Yeah. Can't do
that. You know what? I think we're kind of done for now.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to end.
I think it is a good place to end it because there's loads more really deep. In fact, there's some really good ones actually, some really good ones here. But we'll save that for next time. Can I just read you a nice review that I had on Apple.
Please do.
This is from Ming Sean Chiang in Taiwan. And his review is titled "Fun and Informative Podcast Worth Listening to." 5 stars. A fun and energetic podcast for Marvel fans. Get in there, my son. Thank you very much. So I've noticed that the Taiwan numbers on the stats thing that I get emails from every day. I noticed there's suddenly Taiwan had appeared, and we were for a long time we've been like in the 50s and 60s and the most listened to hobby podcast in Taiwan.
Oh, no kidding.
And it's this guy. So all it takes is one guy to move the needle in Taiwan. So there's also someone listening loads in Argentina at the moment, and I have a feeling that could be Ariel Olivetti, but I might be wrong. But anyway, thank you guys.
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.
Ian.
So I'm going to put it in the tasting notes anyway. But where can everyone find you on? I like to give people the opportunity to pimp themselves should they wish to. I'll start with Amanda because, quite frankly, cards you should know about.
I can be found on Instagram at Graded Gamer or the Graded Gamer Hockey, if anyone in there is so inclined. I have a website, thegradedgamer.com. And I am also on Twitter as Graded Gamer. I'm pretty easy to find.
You're still doing the Graded Gamer inventory feed as well?
It's hard because I've been using that for cards that don't sell right away. Like most of my cards, I have like client lists, and I just say, "Hey, I got this. Do you want it?" And it's gone. So it's not a lot makes it over there, but I do still have it.
You can find that one as well, folks.
Thank you, Ian.
Keith, where's your store? Remind people where your store is.
Yeah, I Want More Comics and Games in Thornton, Colorado, which is just a suburb of Denver. We're stone throw from there. But having a blast there all the time. You can find us on the web, on all the social medias, all under the same name, I Want More Comics and Games.
Billy, when you got more Marvel on the Brain coming out?
When people want to play, man, it's rough. We're in another hiatus. I think the competition was a little too stiff. We're gonna retool the format, try to go a little shorter, cater to the to today's attention span, and see where it goes. We have a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it's a labor of love for sure. With this and doing the Facebook group that, you do it because you love it. And if you didn't love it, you wouldn't do it. But, that's the beginning of the end of it.
Yeah.
But watch _me_open on Instagram, watchmeopen.com, on Whatnot, usually every Friday, breaking a box of some Marvel cards.
And you're all on Whatnot, aren't you? You all do Whatnot stuff.
We are all on Whatnot.
Under the same kind of handles?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Although Billy's is really focused. He does a lot of amazing breaking. I end up on mine just rambling about cards. So we use it in very different ways, but we are definitely all there.
But Amanda's is a lot more engaging. It's a real like lunchtime social thing. People go on there, they chat, they have a good time, and they get to see all the cool cards in the background, and then they get to see her uncut sheets that she'll never sell.
There's a question about Whatnot because I'm complete. I literally never gone there. Can you go back and watch stuff, or is it just live and it's gone?
Yeah, no, you can.
You can. Apparently, right now you only can do it on an iPhone because I've had people try on Android phones and on the web, and it didn't work for them.
Okay, well that's good because iPhone. Okay, well I'll have to have a look into it because I'm not sure how international it is, but most of the stuff that you guys do is on at a time when I can't watch because I'm asleep. So I didn't know you could watch it back. So I've learnt something here today, people, and I feel a more fulfilled and frankly vibrant individual for having done so. So thank you. Guys,
again, Ian's demeanor brought to you by Jim Beam Honey.
I resemble that remark. Who wants to sign us off this week? Do you want to do it together, or do you want to? Someone want to take a stab? Who's going to be nominated?
Keith.
Why me? What?
Because you're drinking water.
Because I always forget.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to tell everybody. I just wrote it down so I don't forget and all this. But we want to encourage
You
everyone out there to enjoy collecting.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Right, I'm going to go and have a drink. Thanks for listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. Tasting notes and visuals for each episode can be found on our Facebook page. We're on most social media at the MCC Pod, and you can also watch the video of each episode recording on our YouTube channel. Leave us a voicemail via our home on anchor.fm/MCCP. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Please take a second to subscribe, like, and review our show wherever you find us. Our Facebook community is at MCCW Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide and MMC Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. The great music we use on our audio version is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. Thanks to the collectors, artists, and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, it's a small hobby but a fun one. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.